What's up, dudes? Wade Universe here, your master geeky and nerdy, and welcome to a new episode. Well, it's a Black Lightning episode recap, and this time we're recapping episode 4 of the Black Lightning series. Now, spoilers from here on out for anybody who had not seen the Black Lightning TV series and would like to. Just for the record, there are spoilers here. So this episode recap might not be that long because not a lot of things happened in this episode. But it had one of the most pretty much impressive openings for the time being, I can definitely say that. Because the episode opens up with somebody screaming from the boys' bathroom and just immediately going nuts, and nobody knows what seems to be happening. Everybody just is around surrounding the boys' bathroom. Somebody tells Jefferson Pierce that there's somebody screaming in the boys' bathroom. So he runs in there, and it's a character that we were introduced to named Bernard Lewis, who is on the floor and is just going completely freaking apeshit. So even when Jefferson tried to calm him down, this dude is not normal. He rips out a urinal from the wall and tries to basically throw it and kill Jefferson Pierce, and Jefferson had to do 2 exact lightning bolts in order to take him down. So, immature meeting that something happened. And it is drugs. But we'll get back to that. So, the next thing that happened is that we're introduced to Lady Eve, as was in episode 3, she was. By the way, you can watch that recap. She is, in an extent, the actress that plays her. I'm going to be honest, she is a sexy and threatening villain. Like, even though she is sexy and very good looking, at the same time, she terrifies the living hell out of me. Because when we get introduced to her, she's talking to Tobias while doing Professor Pig like experiments on another person. But she's talking very calmly, almost like biblically, to Tobias while she's just slicing up the body. I was expecting her to put on some sort of aria in the background like Professor Pig does and just creepy. That's all I can say. She's just creepy. But she is, in a sense, she was using like racial slur towards Tobias. Because she kept using the term albino, and I know that albino is another word for white. So I'm like, you getting racist? And the answer is yes, she is. But I was just like, we got some racist thing going on here, and I'm just confused on like what's going on at first, you know. So the whole episode barely has any Black Lightning in it, and that's maybe why it kind of was weak in my opinion. And also, what's weak about it in my opinion is that it doesn't focus on Anissa and Jennifer as much as the other 3 episodes. I don't know why, but they don't. It's kind of like, excuse me, that we had the portrayals of Jennifer and Anissa in the series, and I was hoping that would become like bigger main players in the Black Lightning, universe. And then in this episode, we see Anissa about 3 times in the entire series, and then we see Jennifer about the same times, about 3 times. And I'm kind of sitting back going, these are really interesting characters. Like, I really like seeing them in this series and how they interact with things. And now you're just gonna tell me that we forgot about them? I mean, it's nice that we're focusing on Jefferson for a change, but I mean, you have other interesting characters besides Chris Williams, and I love Chris Williams as an actor by far. But you have these other 2 actresses who I really do like and starting to appreciate more than I did before. And you hardly ever use them in this series. You have Cheyenne Ann McClain, who I think did a really great performance in this episode as a rebellious teenager, but also the caring and loving girlfriend. And as well, I think that Anissa did a great job. You know, um, And Anissa in this was really starting to portray her superpowers a lot more. She goes after drug gainers. And even at the end of the episode, she beats up a whole entire gang by themselves while her father was planning to do the same thing. Her father was there trying to take down the gang. She comes in there and uses her superpowers, her super strength to eliminate the gang. So again, as I said, I think when I did my episode 3 or 2 recap, that we might see Jefferson and Thunder working together, because Anissa had set it up so much in this. And at the end of the episode, she talking to Grace that we met in the other episode, because now they're a couple. Oh, and she said that she made a speech about saving the world type of deal thing, and I'm like, so this means that she's gonna be a main player in this universe now. Interesting. Like I was like interesting, but we also really focus on Khalil in this. But we'll get back to him in a few. Back to the drugs and whatnot. We learned that there was a new drug on the streets of Jefferson City, called not the actual Jefferson City, but that's called green light. And this is like a really insane drug, as Gamby put it in the episode. That this is like PCP meets crack. So you're looking at a very dangerous drug. They say it's super addictive, and it makes you do really weird things once you start it. It's like once you start, you can't stop. Even the character Brian, even the character that was introduced to this becomes I forgot his name. I said it earlier. I forgot. Becomes very apparent, and when Jefferson towards the end gets a phone call from his father, he's gone on the drug plane to do the drugs again. So Jefferson even sees an old friend of his named Cupid. I swear I've seen the actor for him somewhere, because his face looked very familiar. I just don't know where I've seen it before. Um, And Two Bits is a low life kind of street thug type of deal thing. He's a drug seller, and then eventually, Black Lightning goes to meet him at Jefferson, tries to tell him that he should get out while he still can. He doesn't take his advice seriously. He thinks that he's joking. He doesn't take it seriously. And then when he returns as Black Lightning, he takes it more seriously, and he told him, like, man, I got a family, and I'm doing this crap, and if I get my third strike, that's 30 years behind bars, man. I'll never get to see my kids or my wife again. And he goes, all right, I won't call the police, but you stop selling drugs and you tell me what's going on and the truth. And what's funny is that after he told him everything about the drug, at the end of it, he goes, wait, we got to get a selfie. Probably the worst selfie the guy ever took, because Black Lightning just punches him and knocks him right out as he was doing it. So, not exactly the best thing to do with your best friend here. Also, Tobias in this episode really shows out as a great performer, because he goes to the guy, the doctor that he hired to kill Black Lightning and identify his dead body, and as he realized since he's still alive, the doctor made a whoopsie. Uh, so in return, he said, "Well, now you're gonna give me a death." And the doctor's like, "What? Who? No, no, no." Doctor dies. The bye, doctor that we just met and that we'll never talk about probably again. You will be missed. Um, but the one villain who really shines in this is really Tobias. But we learned that before he was racist, and he has a, like, I guess, black sister or half sister, and I'm like, this raises several questions to why you are a racist bastard and using a lot of racial slur, and your sister is black. Not sure how I should feel about him now. But they decided to use Khalil in the alternative, because at first the doctor that did the operation on Khalil said that, oh, maybe he'll walk again. Then earlier you hear the nurses saying that his spinal cord was just um, kind of severed, and that he might not walk again, but it might be a chance. And then at the end, the doctor comes to him and says, one of your spinal cords is completely shattered and severed. You're never walking again. Period. So Khalil gets upset with this because he has a career in running track. He was hoping that this would have been his big highlight, his big career status, just like Jefferson runs and whatnot. But this does not come to happen. So at the end of the episode, um, Tobias actually in this starts using him. He starts buying him things that he wants. He pays off his medical bills and everything. And at the end, he is sitting there talking to Tobias, basically going to turn him into a new villain. And even at the beginning of this episode, Lady Eve describes how stupid that Tobias was shooting both Khalil and the pastor, and now that he has to reverse what he did. And I'm like, so does this mean Khalil's gonna be his reversal to this effect? Is Khalil gonna be like Mantis? Anybody remember that series? Black disabled superhero in a wheelchair gets like a body of armor, makes him kind of look like Ant Man, and he can walk where he has super strength and other abilities. Am I the only one that really remembers that? No? Okay. Um, but it's kind of a good episode, but for an episode called Black Jesus, they don't really describe what's really happening because if you go by biblical proportions, Jesus was tortured into the ending days of his life, where he died, and then he, resurrected. This is just basically Jefferson Pierce in a sense, like Black Lightning's resurrection, so to speak. But nothing really big happens in this episode like in the other three. I mean, it kind of was a lackluster episode, if I can be honest. I was really hoping to see a lot more of Jefferson's daughters, but we didn't really get to see them as much. You had a big emotional impact on Jennifer, which was nice. You got to see Anissa become this great big supporter of the becoming Thunder, which was nice. And you don't use Lynn or the other characters that I really did love and started to appreciate. So hopefully that episode 5 will be a lot better than this one because this episode of Black Lightning, that is Black Jesus, gotta say, not really living up to that name at all. I was even expecting to see a cameo from Cartoon Network's Black Jesus, but apparently we don't get that either. I never watched that series, I just know about it because other people talk about it. Yeah. So, episode 4, Black Lightning, I'm gonna give it probably a 4 out of 10 if I'm being honest. Just not that good. The fight scenes were great. The other scenes that we had were kind of good. The ending kind of makes it worthwhile. But unless episode 5 can really pick things up and really bring things back into speed, it's not exactly what I want out of the series. Um, so with that being said, hopefully episode 5 will be better. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, before I sign out, that if you hear thunderous explosion in the background, just remember it might not be thunder. It might not be explosions. It might be Thunder kicking the ass of almost 100 different gang members all by herself. And we'll see you next time. And again, hopefully that episode 5 will be better. And I'll see you next time.